Hey you guys, what's up? It's me once again. I've been wanting to make this video for a long time. Only reason why I have not done it is because I kind of wanted to wait and see how things played out. What I mean by that is, this video, as it pertains, I want to talk about Smackdown and why a lot of wrestling fans in unison that I can agree with as to why Smackdown is the better show than Raw. You know, I could have easily made this video several months ago, but I kind of wanted to see where this brand split would have gone. You know, I've given my opinions about the brand split. I was never really the biggest fan of the brand split. I think there should always be one world champion that could be, you know, shared amongst the shows, too many belts and everything else. But the brand split does have its merits. It's not all negative. It's not all bad. I understand that. And it's worked wonderful for some of the, you know, some of the wrestlers today, especially on the Smackdown brand. But I really wanted to kind of wait and see how, you know, both shows in comparison would go moving forward since the split, since we've been quite a way removed and things are settled in with both Raw and Smackdown. Number one reason why Smackdown is better than Raw, I think anyone can guess it right off the bat. It's 2-hour show. 2-hour show. SmackDown being at 2 hours versus Raw at 3, SmackDown wins automatically. Because of its 2 hours, SmackDown does not feel like a chore to watch. Whereas Raw feels like a chore. I don't care what anyone says, but 3 hours is pushing it. You know, it's one thing if you go and you watch a nearly 3-hour movie, but 9 times out of 10, you're not going to go back to the theater unless you're a big fan or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, you're not going to go back and watch that movie at the theater a second time or watch it again until it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD release. You may watch it the second time in the theater, but you're not going to watch it, you know, 4, 5, 6 times in the movie theater, you know, a nearly 3-hour movie. Whereas, you know, Raw, it's you know, watching something that is 3 hours every week, 365 days a year, that is a chore. That is a tough watch. And on top of that, the fact that it's not even good storytelling, good writing, makes it even worse. You know, if it was compelling 3 hours every week, beginning to end, hell, I'd probably be game for it. But because the writing is not that great and the delivery of the show is a drag, that 3 hours makes it even worse, and makes it even worse than a drag. So automatically, SmackDown gets a point by being 2 hours because it is a much easier watch. Another reason why SmackDown is a better show than Raw, SmackDown knows how to utilize its stars better. For a 2-hour show and for a smaller roster compared to Raw, SmackDown Live knows how to utilize their talent in a much better and more efficient way than Raw does. You look at the stars that SmackDown has been building since the brand split: Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, Baron Corbin, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, AJ Styles, The Miz, who has reinvented himself, in my opinion, on SmackDown. I would kind of say maybe Dolph Ziggler, but Dolph Ziggler's really like a non-factor in anybody's mind. Dolph Ziggler is just damaged goods. Look, the Usos, American Alpha, even though they really haven't done much with American Alpha, which I'm really quite surprised, but I'll get into that a little bit later in this video. You know, Dean Ambrose to a degree. SmackDown is building these cast of characters, both old and new, and they're doing it in a much better and efficient way. Whereas you go to Raw, only thing that's been on Raw, Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns versus Y2J and Owens. Chris Jericho versus Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. Roman Reigns versus Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens in a handicap match. Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins in the handicap match, and so on and so forth. And it's just like, are you kidding me? Their women's division, SmackDown has a better grasp of the women that they have and build them up more properly. I think the consensus between SmackDown and Raw is this. Raw is more of like, hey, here's the stars. These are the stars we know we want to push, and we're going to push them on a weekly basis. Whereas SmackDown's like, here's the crop of talent that we have. Here are the guys that we're going to push, to the forefront. But here's some other people that we're going to utilize as well. Instead of them sitting in the backstage or in the basement locked up somewhere, like a slave. We're going to use these people to the best of their abilities, and we're going to find some way to make them useful, even if they may not be big stars just yet, or they're just warm bodies. We're going to utilize the talent that we have. That makes everyone from the main eventers to the mid cards to even the comedic acts on SmackDown have some importance and bring something to the show and make it that much more enjoyable. I mean, I even enjoy just even the little skits between Carmella and James Ellsworth, the little things, the little friend zone kind of like storyline that got going on there, and the things that they do with them. That's entertaining to me. That is funny. I take that over the crap, the testicle joke references that Raw has had Luke Gallows and Anderson. Luke Gallows and Anderson do for 2 or 3 months, whatever it was that they did. SmackDown comes across as a much better show because it utilizes its stars much better. Another reason why it is better than Raw. Again, I'm going to go back to the women's division. Excuse me. The women's division on SmackDown, it goes back again utilizing the stars. SmackDown is like, hey, here are all the women we have. Let's utilize every one of them and make everyone a part of the show and feel special. You have your thing with Alexa Bliss, who has, I think, to me, the most improved diva in a quick amount of time. Alexa Bliss is awesome. And just how well she's improved and her comfortableness of being in front of the camera and the crowd. I'm digging Alexa Bliss. I really am. To Natalia and Natalie, they have their own program. They have Becky Lynch and Mickie James having their own program. SmackDown is using their full female roster to its ability. Whereas Raw is just like Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks, Charlotte. No one else matters. And then kind of underneath you have Bayley. And then beneath that, maybe a Nia Jax, who she's kind of there, but then she's kind of not. Everyone else on the Raw brand, in terms of the women, it's like a non-factor. I don't even know all the women on the roster, or if they even have any more women on the roster on Raw besides, Sasha Banks and Charlotte, and then underneath that, Bayley and Nia. If you want to know any better, you thought Sasha Banks and Charlotte were the only 2 divas they had on the Raw brand. Because, my God, that feud that they had was too much. That's all I'll say. It was too much. I'm a fan of Charlotte. I think Charlotte is a bona fide star. I think they've made her into a star. I think she's improved greatly. Sasha Banks, I believe, is a star as well. But Sasha Banks has devalued. I think she's kind of taking a bump down, in my opinion. Coming out of their long-winded feud, I should say. Whereas Sasha Banks was the most over diva in the company and was getting probably, just as big as pops as New Day would get, or Enzo and Cass. Sasha Banks was super over. Whereas now, I don't think she's, I won't say as over, but she's not getting the reaction, or she's not must watch. Or desirable to the fans as she once was, a year ago, 2 years ago, when she came up to the main roster. So there's that. That's why I say she needs to be on SmackDown. The only downside I can really say to SmackDown, you can really say about SmackDown, is the tag team division is weak. The only team that has really some importance is Alpha and the Usos. Besides that, no other team on the SmackDown brand has really any type of credibility or no top tier value. I should say that they don't have any value, high value. So besides that, SmackDown, the Talking Smack TV show, I think adds another element. It kind of works as a shoot, kind of like talk show interview thing. Daniel Bryan gives no fucks at whatsoever. You listen to a lot of stuff he says on that show. But even Talking Smack, I think, adds another layer that makes the overall SmackDown package enjoyable. SmackDown, I think, has reinvented a lot of the superstars. Like The Miz, for example. I've never been a Miz fan. I've never been an advocate for The Miz. The Miz was just always there. I always gave him credit as a good company guy and a good mid-card guy, but I never saw Miz as a world champion material or, anything else. But The Miz has made me enjoy his work since coming on the SmackDown. The promos that he cuts week in and week out, Miz by far was like on fire. If not for AJ Styles, The Miz would be a heck of a runner-up, in my opinion, in terms of a guy that's just reinvented himself in WWE over the last year. So The Miz has been enjoyable. John Cena is not as annoying. I think the interesting thing when you look at SmackDown and Raw is that, people always complain about, need new stars. You look at Raw. Raw has the younger stars. Raw has more of the younger stars. Raw has the top NXT guys, more of the top NXT guys than SmackDown has. SmackDown has more of the veterans, from Mickie James to The Miz, John Cena, Randy Orton. I'd even put AJ Styles on that list. AJ Styles may be a fresh face, a fresh new face to the WWE product, but he is still a veteran wrestler. And it just goes to, it's funny to go and to see, the people that a lot of people have hated and complained about, such as your Cenas, your Ortons, your veterans, they're on the B show, the show that everyone loves, and the people that, the diehards or the internet wrestling fans clamor for, the Seth Rollins, the Kevin Owens, and everyone else. They're on the A show, the A brand, and that show is not that great. Another key factor, I think so I find it very interesting. Another factor I think is why SmackDown is better is that it's live. I think SmackDown being live was the best thing to happen since that brand's conception. I honestly can believe that. I think SmackDown needs to go live years ago. By it being live, it makes it must-watch TV. You have to watch it live. I get excited when I watch SmackDown. Whereas Raw, I feel Raw, it's a chore, it's a hassle. I feel like SmackDown, even if it may not be a good show, it may be like a weak show for a week, I still come out watching SmackDown, feel like I haven't wasted my time watching it, or I at least still enjoy it to a degree. It may not be good as the week before or what have not, but it still comes out to be an enjoyable show. Another thing that makes SmackDown better than Raw, I think, is the role of the GMs. Shane McMahon is only there when needed, or, to insert him in big angles and whatnot, which that'll be for another video I'll talk about soon as we head to WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan is there as a general manager, but he, again, is not always there. The placement and the usage of general managers is much better on SmackDown than it is Raw. I think I remember they had, like, when they were doing the whole WWE draft thing, I think before or a couple of days after the draft last year in June, Mick Foley was having interviews and stuff with different people, and they were saying, like, Raw is going to be about the superstars and the talents. It's not going to be about the general managers anymore. It's going to be about the stars. and you look 7 months removed, and it's like, new era, same shit. Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon are on TV and are on Raw just as much as the on-key talent, and it drags the show down. I'm sorry, but I do not care about Mick Foley and his random yelling that he does, and I love Mick Foley to heart. I do. He is a great hardcore legend. I respect him. He was part of my childhood when wrestling was at its hottest. But my God, how many times are we going to get, old man yelling, on Raw? How much longer do we have to continue to see Stephanie McMahon being the bitch boss? We get it. You're a bitch. You're the boss's daughter. You run the show. But how many times do you have to flaunt your power in everyone's faces and be a bitch? Like, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed since you were part of the authority angle 2 years ago. Nothing's changed. Whereas Raw, SmackDown knows how to utilize their general managers in a better way. They use them for important angles, important things. They're not on TV all the time. They don't have beef with the superstars. Another factor is why SmackDown Live is better. Now, realistically, let's be honest. I don't know how long this wave is going to last. Yes, SmackDown has been the better show, but I don't know how long this wave is going to last. Because let's be honest, at the end of the day, Raw is the A show, even though it might not produce itself as an A show. Raw is still the A show in WWE's eyes. That is still the flag show. SmackDown will always be the lesser little brother of the two shows. SmackDown is always going to be the show that is going to get pluck its superstars and put them in the Raw. I mean, we've heard numerous reports that Vince McMahon is huge on AJ Styles and wants AJ Styles on Raw. That'd be interesting, but I really think SmackDown needs to be the show that AJ Styles built. There are a lot of superstars that have been anonymous with certain brands. When you look at SmackDown, you think of guys like Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, Edge, Batista, guys that are anonymous with SmackDown. You think of those guys. I think AJ Styles needs to be just like that. I think AJ Styles needs to be anonymous with the SmackDown brand. Eventually, somewhere down the road, you can swap him over to Raw. But after almost a year just being on SmackDown, I don't think he needs to be the one to leave the blue brand. I think he needs to stay on SmackDown. But we'll see. But at the end of the day, SmackDown, so far for the 7 months since this brand split, the re-emergence of the brand split, SmackDown has been the better show. These are the reasons why. Let me know what you guys think. If you agree or disagree with my opinions that I put out in this video. Didn't mean to make it as long as it is, but I hope you guys enjoy it. You guys let me know what you think in the box below. Do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button, and like this video. Peace.